Thank you. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this presentation on how we collect and record code violations here in Australia. So, Breastfeeding Advocacy Australia, weekly code violations. And even though we call this weekly code violations, over time, we've evolved and expanded so that we include many examples of social engineering. We will go into social engineering in depth later in the presentation. This is about protecting mothers and babies from predatory marketing. These are two clear code violations. The product on the left simply being advertised at a reduced price. It's an anti-colic, also using a photo of a baby to sell the product. The image on the right is the infant daytime formula. They also have a nighttime formula. Along with the golden rainbow and the happy teddy, the marketing pretends that this formula replicates how breast milk composition changes from day to night. It's designed to make mums feel confident that breast milk substitute is just as good as breast milk. It's important to let you know here that in Breastfeeding Advocacy Australia, we refer to infant formula as UPF powder. It's listed under the Nova Food Classification System, as most of you would know, as Category 4 ultra-processed food, where the least nourishing foods fall in this category. So while these images are all about the product, for us, this is about protecting mothers and babies from predatory marketing. So BAA, who are we? Well, in 1981, Australia became a signatory to the WHO Code, and our government has never legislated any of the guidelines. In May 1992, at the request of the INC, which is the Infant Nutrition Council, a breast milk substitute industry lobby group here in Australia and New Zealand, the INC asked the government to set up the marketing in Australia of infant formulas, the MAFE agreement. And government allows industry to speak directly to mothers to sell their products, ignoring health, the environment, and cognition, the ability to gain and understand. So in 2015, Janelle Marie and Rachel McDonald attended a review of the MAFE agreement. They came away totally disappointed and disillusioned and disheartened that the government was allowing industry to continue the aggressive undermining of breastfeeding. And so they founded BAA, Breastfeeding Advocacy Australia. So BAA is committed to educating mothers, the government, and the community at large, updating policies and implementing global best practice. We will continue to call out industry and politicians to improve attitudes and healthcare for breastfeeding mothers and babies. BAA is a volunteer organisation with a strict code of ethics. We have no, sorry folks, I'll go back. We have no conflicts of interest in any shape or form, no code violating sponsorships and no paid partnerships. We have 9,000 members and followers over Facebook and Twitter. They're from all over the world: Uganda, Canada, Slovakia, UK, Libya, Lithuania, USA, Pakistan, Nigeria, and Australia, to mention just a few. This is why, in our world, social media is a powerful global communication tool. Australia exports more than just product. It exports attitudes which go against local law. And in Cambodia and in Myanmar, Australia has broken the International Infant and Child Protection Law by marketing formula. It's absolutely disgraceful. Why we began collecting. In 2016, MAFE, the marketing in Australia of infant formula, was allowed to continue for a further 5 years. 2019 to 2021, BAA recorded 1,600 violations. These statistics were included in our submission for the last review which was in March 2021. We offered clear evidence to the ACCC that MAFE was being ignored by industry and used as a tool for cross-marketing. The ACCC is the Australian Consumer and Competition Commission, which is responsible for the review of MAFE. MAFE is a voluntary, self-initiated and self-regulated agreement. The few MAFE reviews that have taken place have cost hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars. Each time the outcome has been ineffective, and the action reviewed from each review has been that it should be reviewed again. March 21 to January 2023, BAA has recorded a further 3,600 examples of how breastfeeding is being undermined here in Australia. These figures will be included in our submission when there is another review. In 2021 review, the MAFE agreement was allowed to continue with action that there would be a further review, and no date was set. MAFE is a joke. The breast milk substitute industry controls the government. The ACCC, which is the Australian Consumer and Competition Commission, FSANZ, which is the Australian New Zealand Food Standards Code, who set the legal requirements for labelling, composition, safety, handling and primary production and processing of food in Australia. The TGA, which is the Therapeutic Goods Administration, is responsible for evaluating, assessing and monitoring products defined as therapeutic goods. This includes medicines, medical equipment and biologicals. As a result, all of these products, UPF, powdered breast milk substitute, infant food, bottles and teats, toddler drink and growing up milk, breast pumps, dummies, probiotics, endless other products undermining breastfeed, industry is allowed to market these products everywhere and without penalty. We have no rules to protect mothers here. How we collect violations. We have a public Facebook group. A post is published in the group every Sunday, and we ask the members to provide a clear picture of a screenshot or a screenshot of anything they see as undermining breastfeeding. We ask them to include the date that they see it and the location where they see it, any incentive to purchase the product or service, and we encourage them to interact with us, ask questions, and join in discussion. Members share examples they find everywhere in supermarkets, pharmacies, drugstores, chemists, print catalogues, online stores, brand and manufacturer websites, social media, direct email marketing, billboards, signage on buses, TV and streaming services, retail apps, retail and brand websites, professional journals, absolutely everywhere they see them. This is a partial screenshot of a recent post on our Facebook group, Breastfeeding Advocacy Australia. I'm the admin who organises the post each week. It's the weekly code violations post, and this was for week ending the 8th of January 2023. There is the text of the post and the image below it of breaches. And here it is set out so that I can read through it for you. So this is the weekly code violations post, week ending 8th of January 2023. And it says, mothers and babies need your help. Please post in comments any promotions or advertisements for products you think undermine breastfeeding. As usual, please take a screenshot or photo and share it with where and when you saw it. If there's a special reduced price, please capture any sales tags in the photo. We change the text from time to time. We change the image every week. And every post includes a link to the WHO code, a link to the WHO explanation of cross-promotion, and a link to the MAFE agreement. So I'm going to just read through. These are the sorts of images that people report, members report as being violations. This is a formula. The image on the left image is a formula manufacturer who has a baby and me club. Here they're inviting mothers to join the club and telling them members will get a tailored weekly, monthly e-newsletter, a personalized browsing experience, exclusive deals and giveaways, practical tools to support and track your pregnancy and baby's progress. Tick if the mother is 18 years or over and would like to receive marketing communications from the brand Baby and Me, the nutrition products, as well as other trusted partners brands. And mother will agree to having her personal information processed in accordance with their privacy policy. We record this as social engineering because it isn't actually a product. But you'll notice how pervasive this is because the brand name has actually been mentioned 7 times. I've just covered it up there at the bottom with the social engineering. On the right, this is a clear breach. This is an infant formula, birth to 6 months, and it's being advertised. It's at a reduced price, free shipping, get 50% off. The add to cart, it's reaching out to mothers to to look for more information, to engage them. And it's also using a lovely picture of a golden rainbow and a happy teddy to encourage them, to make them feel good about buying it. Interactions, information and education. Members interact with us and with each other from time to time on the in the comments on the post. They ask us for clarification and we use the post to educate and share that information. This is an example of how one of our members has asked, do you mind if I ask why you've blocked out the brands in the image, posted image? I've gone back and said, leaving the brand visible in the posts simply continues to advertise their product. And we believe it sends a stronger message if we block it out. Thank you for asking. And the members really like to have the information because, that makes perfect sense. Thank you. Collating and recording. We do this on a spreadsheet. Our spreadsheet has 2 sheets. One is violations, code violations, and the other is social engineering. We have 26 columns and growing. We're currently reviewing and revising and updating this. It's certainly growing. Each example is filed in a document and given a file number. And then we add that file number and date to the spreadsheet. We also record the WHO code clause that has been violated, the media type. It could be a third-party website, an in-store, or a print catalogue. We also record which brand has made the violation and the promoter. So it could be a supermarket or a chemist or an influencer. And each example has a URL link to a Facebook group file, to our Facebook group violations post. And I'm pretty sure we all know what a URL is, but we'll explain. Uniform resource locator. This is basically our address on the internet. It's a direct link to the violations post containing that particular example. And each weekly post has its own link. This is how it looks on our Facebook group. At the top, it just says facebook.com. So when we enter it into the spreadsheet, we simply copy and paste it into the column on the spreadsheet. And as we paste it, it expands out into its full address. So anybody who wants to have a look at this post here would simply copy and paste this link into a browser, and it would take them straight to the post. Other headings in the spreadsheet, breast milk substitute, toddler drink, growing up milks, probiotics, bottles and teats, formula gadgets, breast pumps, dummies, complementary foods, 4 months plus, feeding tools, 4 months plus, cross-marketing, apps, clubs, parenting and apps and groups, radio voice recorded ads, sales incentive. I'm sure if you decide to carry on with this kind of recording, you'll find your new headings of your own. These are sections of our spreadsheet. The one on the left at the back, the first column is the WHO code clause, the clause that has been violated. The next column across is the date, has the date and also the number of the example, the month, the type of media that it was, where it was found, and then any notes that we feel we need to include on the spreadsheet at the time. Infant formula, toddler drink, growing up milks, bottles, teats, etc. And then further across the spreadsheet, we have the incentive and incentives for the mothers or whoever to actually buy the product. So it could be a reduced price, could be a giveaway toy, free shipping, buy one, buy two, get one free. And then it's the type of whether it was a single product from a brand or whether it was a multiple. This multiple could be a photo or screenshot of a supermarket aisle where there are dozens and dozens of breast milk substitutes on screen. So the members take photos of those and send it in, so that becomes a multiple. And then we name the brand. We name the brand that is doing the promotion. And the promoter, where it's being promoted, supermarket, the brand, pharmacy, online store, could be anywhere, an influencer, somebody who has a paid partnership with the company. And from all this information, we are able to get all sorts, or this data, we're able to get all sorts of information. So here we have a pie chart that is just one company, their data that we've collected on this one company in the March 21 to January 23. So this particular product, who initiated the advertising, 7% came from a pharmacy, 21% came from an influencer, 10% hospital or healthcare, 19% supermarket, 2% online store like Amazon or one of those, 31% was the actual brand, the actual company themselves, 3% was a charity or church, and 7% was other, difficult to to define. So social engineering starts at the top levels of politics and industry. So we have the breast milk substitute industry is lobbying politicians, the dairy, meat and livestock industry and the Retailers Association, the pharmaceutical industry and chemists, they all lobby our politicians. They all pressure politicians to accept society's attitude that women can't breastfeed and the product they have is essential and life-saving, and government buys it. Politicians want to be popular and they want votes, and government funding budget cannot compare anywhere with the industry dollar. Industry also pressures advertising agencies and the media to frame breastfeeding as difficult. They socially engineer the idea that bottles and bottle feeding is how society works. Industry tricks politicians into believing their advertising and their marketing promotions, and they use language that describes their products as science and evidence-based. And as we know, then the government is not prepared to give up popularity with industry for health. Influence is definitely power. The government chooses popularity over health. Structures to support breastfeeding take time, effort, and commitment. Example of this level of influence and social engineering by industry is when breast pump companies actually lobby against paid maternity leave. It's disgraceful. On this slide, the skills and money used in tobacco marketing and advertising have been transferred very effectively to the ultra-processed food for you, but I'm going to send you home with this free sample of cigarettes, just in case it doesn't work out. Good luck. You wouldn't let your doctor do this, so don't let them do this. Here's a doctor speaking to a new mum. I think it's great that you're planning to breastfeed. You know what we say, breast is best, but I'm going to send you home with this free sample of formula, just in case it doesn't work out. Good luck. Many mothers here leave hospital with a tin of breast milk substitute, just in case they fail to have enough milk to nourish their babies. Many, many babies here in Australia are given UPF powder top-ups in their first 24 hours of life. So social engineering is a means of influencing particular attitudes and social behaviours on a large scale, obtaining confidential information by manipulating or deceiving people and artificial intelligence. Breast milk substitute manufacturers always say breast is best, and at the same time, they cleverly imply that breastfeeding is difficult, and they have the gold standard substitute just in case mum can't breastfeed. These are examples of social engineering here in Australia. Mothers' clubs and parenting tips, deceptive advertising, manipulating mothers to use their products to fix their problems, rather than encouraging them to trust their bodies and their baby to work together in the biologically normal way. Industry infiltrates our health system, educating healthcare professionals to use their products, pumps, nipple shields, breast milk substitute, instead of giving proper and effective breastfeeding support, information and advice to mothers. They donate massive parcels of breast milk substitutes in times of crises, and that gives a false impression that they're doing it for the good of the people. And they form paid partnerships with breastfeeding support groups, lactation consultants, celebrities and influencers to promote their products. Packaging. Mothers are bombarded with advertisements and packaging using photos of happy babies, teddy bears, toys, flowers, hearts, endless lovely illustrations to appeal to mums and suggest that the powder in the tin is perfect for their precious babies. Images of bottles, dummies, and breast pumps are being marketed as everywhere as must-haves. Industry suggests that their substitute is equal to breastfeeding. They advertise breastfeeding as painful, difficult, hard on mental health, and time-consuming. Clever advertising tells mums that breast milk substitute is just as good as breastfeeding, and they often use nutritionally complete on their labels. And this doesn't even begin to address the power of the algorithms on the internet used by these companies to work out how pregnant we are, along with what we buy, where we buy it, and how much we buy. So you can see separation of mothers and babies, formula feeding, pumps, bottles, teats, and dummies have been normalised without us noticing. This is social engineering. I wonder how many times have you seen images like this in your social media? Does social engineering look something like this where you are? Subtle messages to new mothers presented by respected healthcare providers to show the baby needs fixing. The image on the left is a leading medical centre in the USA, recommending that oftentimes sleep training is tougher on the parent than the child. On the right, we actually have an Australian government pairing advice website normalising breastfeeding. Or perhaps it looks like something like this. On the left, this medical practitioner is reviewing and recommending sleep training. While it may involve some tears, sleep training isn't harmful for babies who often learn to be super sleepers in just, sorry folks, I'll go back again, who often learn to be super sleepers in just a few nights. And the image on the right, this is recommending a newborn self-feeding, hands-free, bottle holder, support nursing pillow. normalising separation of mother and baby and recommending dangerous feeding practice. How do they get away with it? This is a breast milk substitute company's mothering parenting club, collecting personal, private information with a clever message. They want to enhance the experience and help mothers. Here they're saying your privacy is important to us. By clicking on the accept button, you consent to the usage of first and third-party cookies or similar in order to enhance your overall web browsing experience, measure our audience, collect useful information to allow us and our partners to provide you with ads tailored to your interests. Learn more on our privacy notice and set your preferences by clicking here or at any time by clicking on the privacy settings link on our websites. How many of us actually read the fine print before agreeing to the terms? We are pretty sure that busy mothers of newborns don't. Our society does not have proper support for new mums, so they're easily targeted to join any parenting club like this. And this is data trolling. I have to say here that BAA is very comfortable about looking more broadly at all products that undermine the code in contemporary society. And these items here are why the code is not always helpful. It doesn't capture current and emerging subsequent World Health Assembly resolutions. Sorry, the code and subsequent World Health Assembly resolutions are not keeping pace with industry. And sadly, some breastfeeding advocates are arguing only for what's in the scope of the code rather than looking at whether the predatory marketing is undermining breastfeeding. And here's an example. Introducing our brand new app. The app helps you from pregnancy onwards and enables you to reach your breastfeeding goals. Goes on to say pregnancy and baby tracking, pump connectivity, personal helper, and virtual milk storage. Nothing about biologically normal breastfeeding. On the right, this supplier of probiotic says they are finding success with their patented immune system boosting and mastitis battling probiotic isolated from human breast milk in a world-first product launched in Australia. Cleverly worded to make it look as though it might actually have some breast milk substance in it. We're coming to the end of this presentation, so I'd like to read through the goals and ideals of Breastfeeding Advocacy Australia. Our goal is to create public and government awareness of the role of successful breastfeeding as the single most important public health measure a country can implement. Provide education to government agencies, provide a forum for interested parties to interact and be informed, participate in opportunities that affect policy related to breastfeeding, recognise and advocate for human rights of families and their infants, advocate for legislation to enforce the International Code of Breast Milk Substitutes, identify and expose products and practices that undermine and fall outside the code, record breaches of the code and report them to governing bodies whose role is to protect, promote and support breastfeeding, expose predatory marketing practices, create understanding of how attitudes towards infant feeding are affected by commercial influence, advocate for families to be given information about biologically normal sleep in the first 1,000 days of life, advocate for breast milk, breastfeeding and unpaid carers work to be recorded numerically in the GDP figures. Thank you all for your interest in protecting breastfeeding.